And we are live. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Australian Survivor Recap. I'm your host, Lee. Joining me today, you might recognize her from recapping a bad show in Big Brother, but she's decided to come to a decent show. It's Susan. How are you doing, Susan? How's your day going?
Good. I'm all caught up on Australian Survivor, and I'm ready to gossip about it.
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about this season. Before we get into this season, how are you finding the season so far in the 9 episodes we've seen?
Australian Survivor is one of my favorite shows. Again, I didn't start watching until right up before the first Contenders versus Champions, but I can't say that I don't like it. I'd never been like, oh, I really don't like this person. I think the edit of the way that every episode you're learning about someone, even though you can say, oh, they're going to go home. I just love learning about it. You feel like they're a real person. And I absolutely love this season, although I'm not happy with these vote outs. I'm semi-happy. I'm torn because I love that George is still there, but why?
Yeah, why couldn't you target somebody else? But then we'd be sad that that person is gone. Like, Australian Survivor have definitely improved in their editing within the past few seasons. We all know, I mention this every recap, we all know the infamous Chance vs. Contenders 2, Sam not getting a single confessional, and then the overhype of people that we are obvious the winner, Pia, David, other players. But here, everybody is well edited, and we'll get into these edits. So, we begin the episode. Well, what are your thoughts on the last episode where Kara went home?
That's what I wanted to touch base on. Like, I love powers, there should be some in a game, but I feel like this season, the two that come out are extreme. Only having those four decide on who was going. I mean, the first round we seen, he got to save half the damn tribe. I mean, I like the twist, but I don't know. 4 people in charge of 2. It's a little big brothery to me, but whatever.
Yeah. See, very big brother, like that very first tribal. I know that you're still trying to recover from poor Phil leaving. That very much friendship bracelet, save half the cast.
Exactly. Definitely. It was the friendship bracelet. And none of them were even appreciative about it. I mean, George
one was.
I get it, but like they were all, oh, does that mean no, I don't know. Yeah. I wouldn't have saved any of them. I wouldn't have used
it. Well, one was appreciative way until, well, she flipped.
I know.
Yeah. So as we left off last episode, we saw that Kara got voted out and eliminated, but she goes to see a torch saying, your game is not over. Go to the Brawn tribe, pick up the red buff, and head on out. And we are delighted to see this. What are your thoughts on this twist?
I like that in Survivor when they get voted out and go to a different tribe. I think it's fun. I mean, it versus the random of just going home, knowing you're not jury. I love that twist. Screw the other tribe, use me, because I can go either way. You can go back to that tribe. You can build new bonds. I mean, it's a second chance. So,
yeah. I usually hate these twists only because it's always like, oh, for God's sake, you're saving this person. Like, it looks like rigged, which Australian Survivor is kind of rumored for. And I did say last recap, like, was this meant for George and I thought he was going to get voted off?
See, I like it better, like, them getting voted off and coming right back in. I don't like the Edge of Extinction, Redemption Island. I don't like when they get to sit more than a round doing nothing. Like, I would appreciate this more versus waiting until the middle or have final 4 or 5 and having a player come back in.
Yeah.
I mean, who heard of such an atrocity?
Yeah, who ever heard of somebody who got voted off third winning a season? Never heard of it. Doesn't exist in my world. So it's late at night. Kara's trying not to fall over the pitch blackness, and she's arriving at the tribe, and she thinks, this is the first time this tribe is meeting me in person. What's the best way I can introduce myself? I know, I'll jump on top of them while they're sleeping.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gone that route necessarily, because if somebody jumps at me when you're sleeping, I'm probably going to vote you out just for that reason.
We've seen people get voted off for worse.
So, yeah, she could have been a little bit more subtle, but I imagine with the excitement, you think you're going home, and then all of a sudden you're not. So maybe I might have just jumped around and screamed, or I probably would have screamed instead of jumped on people.
I think I probably would have hidden, like I'd sleep like on the other side of the shelter and then just watch them wake up and be like, "Hi, I've been here the whole time," and then everyone's
That
just in
would be really
confusion.
good. That would be something everybody would talk about.
Yeah, you just appear out of nowhere. It's like, "Yes, I'm on your tribe now."
Oh yes, I did. I love it. I'm happy that she got a chance. I don't know going forward though. I mean, once you're voted out, aren't you just an easy target? Even if, let's say, the tribe she went to, Red Tribe, goes to tribal. She's already been voted out. We can just do it again.
Yeah, if only Brawn were unified to go through that strategy. So after Kara's rude interruption of sleep, we go over to the Brains tribe. We see that George is extremely superstitious with the snake skin on the tribe head. And we get confession of Joey going off about how his plan worked. Well, almost worked, and not getting at George, but we got his right hand woman. Is Joey a little overconfident in these like scenes that we're seeing him in?
Maybe edited to be overconfident. I guess he was supposed to be our, or maybe I don't know. It's so hard to tell if people are putting on a persona just to be like cameras on me, or if that's who they are. Like for George, I just believe that's who he is in life. He's just says who he is. But some of these, I feel like with the camera, it's just what they want to say. They know that perfect pun, that perfect, oh haha, you can't get me. But I mean, with him being voted out, he can't be that brilliant or falling for that.
A little too out there. We now see George wallow in his sadness that Kara got voted off, that he has no one, and he decides to bring Way over and call her out on her decision. He does it a little better than what he did with Rachel, where he takes Way aside and says, "How could you betray me?" And Way explains that he's too volatile, he's too much of a liability. While he is loyal, he causes drama and friction between tribe. So, what are your thoughts on Way flipping last tribal? Do you think it was a good decision?
I mean, I see why she made that decision. However, I don't care. I mean, he's a little volatile because he's loud, but I think all that, the loyalty that he has for people would make that other stuff not as simple for me. Obviously, he's always going to be a target. People don't like him. Like, why would you flip against him? His loyalty is great. Like me better than you, and you're loyal to me. I mean, I don't see the why she would flip personally, but I don't really think it affected anything. I mean, George doesn't really have as many options as he can or should. So, I mean, other than forgiving her and moving forward, what else can he do?
Well, we all know George is good for forgiving. I think the reason like Way flipped, she tried to explain it's like I think this is what a lot of people are thinking is like, let's say because George is known for finding idols or pointing to idols, and people can easily think split votes. What George has an idol, maybe we put the majority on somebody else, like Way, who he saved. So I think that was probably going through her head. And she says like she wasn't having fun like being with George. Like they're stuck in the outback desert land area. You want to enjoy yourself while you're kind of being tortured by heat, insects, and lack of food. Just a thought.
True. Again, I don't know the thinking game ahead. I don't know. Getting rid of the big threats. And I say it in Big Brother, like, don't you want to keep people that people don't like? At least that's one person ahead of you that's voted out, but you're fine.
Sorry about that. My mother just walked in. Yeah, that's always the question. It's like, when do you take out the big threats? When is too early? When is too late? When's the perfect time?
Yeah, and, but you said for her, it's George is so loyal. If he had the opportunity to save people again, I think he wouldn't have questioned saving her again until she had done that.
Yeah,
I think he would pick that look because that's very rare to come across in any of these games. People keep flipping and flopping and going all over. So I would take the loyalty.
Yeah, it's very rare to
craziness.
It's very rare to find blind loyalty in the game, and it actually working out for the person. We now cut to the Brawn tribe where Kara is the luckiest woman in the world. She's like being treated with positivity, looking all of them work out, being a tribe. What? And I forgot what I was about to say about that. So, you can tell I'm very new at this.
It's okay. You're fine. It's the thoughts. It's all over. You want to bounce through episodes. I get it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Kara spills the tea on what happened last tribal in how everyone is like very rude. So like there's definitely like a hierarchy, a cool kids group. And that shows the Brawn people like she's no more brains, like that doesn't exist. She's all Brawn, clearly. Is this good for Kara? Like just to completely X out the brains people?
For me, if I was Brawn and she easily, I mean, I'm not saying that maybe they didn't deserve it, but in the back of my head, I would be like, well, she sold them out that fast. Would she sell us out just as fast to go back to them?
Yeah. And plus, with her being so close to George, who is a very, what's the right word to describe him?
Eccentric.
That, yeah, eccentric. Being a very eccentric type of player, do you really want to have that attached to you?
I don't know. Like, I'm one of the few people when I watch these games, that's my favorite part of these games. I would say there's a difference between being a legend and a winner. I think the people we talk about the most probably don't do as well as when we talk about the winners. But I love the craziness behind George. I mean, he's there to win at no cost. And even though it's madness and chaos, I would rather watch that.
Yeah, nobody wants to see a pagonging tribal where it's just one group of alliance picking off one by one and no one doing anything. So while George is an acquired taste of people, he's bringing the entertainment at least. And it's fun entertainment. It's not annoying entertainment like we have seen in other shows. Looking at you, Big Brother. And then we see a fight for Kara between our two main Brawn heads, Simon and Shannon. This is an interesting rivalry because when I first saw it, it kind of did come out of the blue with that very first Simon, like, I want to target Shannon with no context. If you were Kara, let's say you're Kara and you're in the survivor world, who would you, not having met them, who would you naturally gravitate towards?
Probably Shannon.
You wouldn't go for the alpha male?
No, I'm also over the whole protect me alpha male thing. Like, I want to see more girl power and like girls actually stick together and not go after each other and not let these big strong men take us to the end and then they wonder why they lose a challenge at the end. I say cut the Paul Bunyan early, make it all the feeble, a fairer fight at the end.
I mean, we've had 8 boots, and 6 of them have been, well, 5 have been male, 1 has been, and 2 have been female. So
yeah, I mean, it's going in the right direction a little bit, but we could
hopefully
Phil.
Yeah, like couldn't we keep Phil
like,
and
got Mitch that round and then gave Phil a couple more?
Yeah, and then cut somebody out when Mitch went home. Nobody cares about him. Literally got nothing from him.
No.
So we get to the reward challenge, and the brains see Kara there. They're shocked. Everyone's like, wait, she's still in? Kara talks about how much she loves the Brawn tribe. George goes on and on about what an asset Kara is and how much they gained. Very much saying, like, pretty much going to the tribes, like, look what you've done. You fucked up. And there's people, like, Rachel's, like, telling George, like, shut up.
Yeah, I don't know what he was thinking there.
What is George ever thinking?
Usually I can rectify a lot of what he does, but that I don't understand.
Like, we get it. You love Kara. I mean, even through tribes, their bond is still there. And I wonder if that would be a target in the future other than George's craziness, their bond together, because a pair can be very strong in Survivor, a la Rob and Amber.
This is true.
Yeah. George and Cara, the Australian Rob and Amber.
Great.
Woo! So we get to the reward challenge, and we see it's a classic Survivor hold on to your weight challenge, tribe endurance hold on to your weight challenge, where it's all strength and you have to pretty much carry your body weight when you start it. So when I saw this, I immediately thought, oh, so Braun is winning another reward challenge. And Braun thought so as well. They kept going on and on about how this is nothing. We do this on a daily. And then you have like Little Way, who looks like someone like George and not George Simon would like devour.
I know. But I think for something like that, sometimes the weaker ones do better. I mean, because you're only balancing your own weight. I mean, and even if you don't weigh that much, I mean, I think it's a better even of it. I knew they could pull it off though.
Yeah, it's not that much weight, but if you have like thin arms that could look like, which does almost happen to Way, but she managed to let go in time and pass off her barrel. And it looks like Braun is having this easy. They're easily going off. Shannon drops out, not surprising. But here's a question. Did Shannon drop on purpose so she could have a little connection with Cara?
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, because Cara, to prove herself to the Brawn tribe on their first challenge, sits out. And then Shannon drops, and we see them, like, kind of talking. Now...
Oh, that's an interesting take on that. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, like, looking at the challenge, I did think Shannon would be, like, the first Brawn to drop because she's not the most muscular, to say, out of the Brawn tribe. But when I saw her, I was like, I wonder if she's going to drop early just so she can get in quick with Cara. Because if Simon drops early to get in quick with Cara, that looks suspicious. It's like, Challenge continues on. Brains are holding their own. Brawn are still gloating. However, a little mishandle from Chelsea means she drops out, which now Brain has an extra member. It's then followed by Danny dropping out. And the Brawn are struggling, and the Brains are just fine. And we keep going until Gerald drops the ball, or well, the buckets, giving Brains their first reward. They beat the Brawn in a strength challenge. What were your thoughts going through when you saw this happen?
Again, I think when you're bigger in your arms, like that muscle tension and stuff hurts. When you're smaller, like I'm tiny, I don't have any arm muscles, but I find when I do this, because I have no muscles, there's really no wear or tear. I'm just like getting bored because I don't feel my arms.
It's just your arms constantly being stretched out. No worries.
Yeah, I mean, it just, I don't know. I feel like sometimes the smaller frame has a better advantage. It's not just because it looks like it's a strength challenge. It doesn't mean you have to be that strong, big guy.
Yeah. And we see that happen when the Brains win. They finally win a reward. And they yeah. Real theme with the Brawn. Gloating will get you axed, as we will see in future episodes. Stay tuned. So, Brain wins their first reward. Cara has still not won any reward. Poor her. And they have an Aussie barbecue. Great. Laura describes it as an angel pissing in your mouth. Only in Australia.
I didn't even question it. Some of the things my Australian friends say, and I'm like, you said what? And it doesn't shock me.
And we see Joey doing his little Joey thing and starts building bonds with other people, such as Baden. And he does this right in front of Haley as she's cleaning. And then we hear Haley saying like she wants to do something big. When looking at this, did you think, is Haley just talking, just saying stuff to say stuff? Is she actually going to go through with it? Should Joey maybe be a little more subtle making relationships and not do it in front of other tribes? What were you thinking?
I really did think it was all talk. I didn't expect her to go and like try to flip a vote. I mean, because every round you see it's somebody trying to throw shade at somebody else, and it should be this person. And usually 9 times out of 10, it's not what you're expecting. So no, I didn't think she would fully push. Like I didn't think this blindside would be the blindside it was.
Yeah, usually when somebody says like, oh, I want to make a big move, it's usually like 17 episodes after, and then it's usually too late where they go home.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like when Chanel left, people were talking that round to make a move, yet nobody
They just
made a move.
well, people try to make a move just on someone else, and some people got confused with the voting. A trend this season. We'll talk about it. So we get to the Brawn tribe going over their first loss. Gerald feels guilty because he dropped the ball, and Kara decides to lift up the move by showing her empathic powers. Now, what are your thoughts? Do you believe in empaths and all that jazz?
I believe if you believe in it and it makes you feel good, then I'm all for it. Personally, myself, I don't know. I mean, I guess I could have days that I'm like, it's the fault of the moon, but it's funny. But I mean, she believes it, and if that's what gets her through the day and she feels that's what works, then I'll breathe with her. Let's do it.
Yeah. She's helping people. It's not hurting anyone. Do what you do as long as it doesn't hurt the others. Also, it's always fun to like be one of those people. It's like, oh, I didn't make a mistake. Saturn was just in the wrong position.
I'm gonna totally do that next time. Blame a planet.
Yeah. Oh, it's not because I didn't study or know anything about this test. It's just the moon was in orbit or something. Astrology stuff, or is it astronomy? One of the two.
It could be both.
Yeah. And during this, Shannon does what Shannon does best and emotionally bond. Simon sees this and thinks that the best way to bond with Kara is to talk about menopause. Well, he really can't bond with women that aren't like sporty.
Well, I wouldn't call that bonding with women. I'm over that age, and I don't think I would want to talk about that with a man that doesn't have any clue to what's going on.
No. And not just about women, just about stuff in general. God, he's proven why he's not on the Brains tribe. No wonder he wants to get rid of Shannon. No social skills.
I agree.
We get to the immunity challenge, and once again, the producers are like, okay, how can we save George? Let's make a public idol. So, an idol is hidden in the challenge, and everyone is told where it is. And when I saw this, like, for God's sake, is George getting another idol? Can this guy survive a tribal without an advantage? But it turns out that it's Haley who gets it. Now, when you saw that there was this idol, did you think, oh, another idol for George or somebody? Or were you, I mean, I was surprised that Haley was the one to get it. I thought, like,
assuming that George would be the one so bold and get it. I was surprised that Haley did get it.
Yeah, and she just like got there, picked it up, ran back, put it in her shorts, and continued on with the challenge. Now, would you have gone for it?
I would have to say, depending on the position I'm in, I don't think Haley would have had to have gone for it. Maybe. I mean, it's so hard because sometimes you think you know the dynamics. I guess it would depend on where I was at. Like, there's no need to put a target on myself and be like, oh, I need this idol. I mean, obviously, some people like George
need an idol to survive.
But it would depend on where I felt, if I felt safe.
Yeah, I'm sure when people saw Haley run for it, I'm pretty sure some of them were thinking, oh, she's just trying to get it to make sure George isn't the one who has it. So I think that's always like a good excuse. Like if there's one like main target and you find the idol, you can always be like, oh, I just got it so he wouldn't get it.
Yeah. Even if you would have gotten it, I mean, you're still living round around, being a high target. It buys you around, but what do you do after?
Yeah, well, we see what Haley does with it. Very smart girl. So immunity happens. Brawn wins. Yay. Kara gets to be safe. Yay. And we get back, God notes, We get back to the Brains camp, and it's Let's Take Out George Part 3, the trilogy. Joey and his Hierarchy Alliance decides that it's finally time to go for George, and again, third time's the charm, maybe. They know he does, well, they're pretty sure he doesn't have an idol, but they still do a split vote, and they decided to put the split on Wei, who flipped to them last tribal. Do you think Wei was the right person to split on? Why not go for, like, Baden, maybe?
Just probably because they thought they had the better numbers, because they probably still think Wei and George have something or would save each other. I mean, even though she voted with them, she could still feel like, wow, he saved me, because she would have been the first boot had he not done that. So I would assume people would have some sort of loyalty to that. Like, I would play that card. Remember when I saved you round 1?
Remember when I saved you from going home? To think, still, after all these votes, the 5 other people George saved have still not been voted off. Well, technically, because Kara technically got voted, but it switched tribes. But other than that, none of them got voted off yet.
Interesting. See, I would use that as George. Remember when I saved you?
Yeah, he's always like, remember when I saved you?
But I would just assume that's why they picked her versus anybody else.
Yeah, it's like, we only needed you for this one vote. We're okay with you leaving.
And then they probably just assumed the chances of her finding something were less likely than anybody else in the cast, maybe having some kind of particular anything at this point.
And also, she's great at puzzles, but challenge-wise, she isn't one of, like, someone you think of, like, challenge strength. Or does she? We'll find out in the later episodes.
Yeah, it's all about, like, I get it as a tribe, but I still would rather compete against her than the bigger people when it comes to individual.
Why not go after someone like Joey? Oh, wait. That's what Haley does. Haley is like, I'm sick of this hierarchy tribe. I want to do something. Let's gather the bottom people and target one of the cool kids. And she decides to go after Joey. Now, when I did hear Joey's name, I was thinking, this is not going to work, because Joey's a decently edited person. And if they were targeting literally any of the other 3, they could have a chance, but Joey's well edited. He's not going to go home. And when people hear this plan of Haley, they're like, is it too early? Maybe we shouldn't. Because she goes to Wei. She tells Wei that, oh, you're also the other person receiving votes. And Wei is a little reciprocated. She's like, I don't know if keeping George in the game is good for me. So when you were looking at this, did you think, oh, George is going home, Wei's getting fucked, is Joey actually leaving, what's Haley doing, what are these people doing? What were your thoughts?
At that point, I don't know, because like you said, the edit usually does the whole thing, because Joey's been in there, and I'm like, Joey's making it far, so in my head, it's George or Wei.
Yeah. And Haley doesn't even get a chance to talk to George. She only managed to talk to 3 of the 4, which maybe she could have needed, but you never know. You always need someone. We get to tribal. Everyone answers their questions. People say, now there's topics that are brought up that usually annoys me, but I don't know if they were just said on purpose. There's when Baden was like, oh yeah, I might be later down the line, but I'm going to wait till it's that time to do something. And then you have Laura being like, I don't have a pecking order. What's a majority? And these are like topics that like you hear and people get frustrated because it's like, no, you do something now. There's always a majority. What were you during this trial? What were your thoughts in your head?
I mean, again, like I always say, it's easier said than done. We at home sit and watch, and I would never do that. You have to go this way. But again, you don't know the inner work. Like, I can't imagine sitting there that scared, like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do? I mean, you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. Either way. So
pretty much you're screwed. Yeah, we can sit at home and say as many times, I wouldn't have taken David to the end. I would have kept Sean and voted him off at 7.
Right. But I'm also not a fan. Like, is everybody go, well, what's majority vote? What does it matter what majority vote is? Just vote.
Vote.
Vote
Yeah.
for yourself. Please vote for
Yeah.
yourself. But
Vote for you. I always like in my mind, if I ever do somehow get on Survivor, which is very unlikely due to not being an American, I'm always like the person that's like, I'm just gonna vote for whoever I want. Like you can tell me like, oh, we're voting Way tonight, and I'm gonna be like, let's see, nobody has mentioned Andrew's name. I'm just gonna write his name down for fun.
yeah, again, super fans, we think that, but then once you go on the show,
Yeah.
like, man, that could cause a lot of hectic chaos voting.
Yeah. I always say super fans are never good at the show that they super fan over.
Oh yeah,
I don't.
definitely, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if you watch College Survivor.
Sometimes.
Yeah, but there's a lot of super fans who are like, "Oh, I'm a super fan. I know this game," and they do terrible. I think an example. I'm sure people love him. Adam in Winners at War, being like, "This is not what's supposed to happen. I know what you're supposed to do. This, this, and this in order to win the game. Why are people doing things that aren't game body? What?" And it's like, oh God, how did he win?
Yeah, I mean, again, but like I said, we just talked about this, and Big Brother, we have all these opinions of what we're gonna say, what we're gonna do, and we're not there.
Yeah.
And really, it just matters the opinion of 5, maybe 6 to 7 at the most to agree with something you did to give you that win. And it's so weird because it's just such a minute little number, and we have all these, and I'm like, but I would, and how could you? And
yeah, I would have kept Whitney and voted off Hannah. Just watch the eviction episode.
Right. See, exactly. I mean, we all say we're going to do it, but will we? Like, I say that too. I'm not voting because they told me to. I'm going to vote the opposite way. Or I'm not going to sit there and be like, I'll follow you. But I don't know. You look at them and maybe that's why they're still there.
And to be fair, we're getting confessionals at Insider, and we know, like, oh, we know this person is lying. We know that there's these alliances. These people are oblivious to confessionals. To all they know, everyone is just happy rain show cake pie stuff.
Right. That is true. You don't know what everybody else is saying in their confessionals, but we do.
Yeah, we know that Laura thinks that the award is an angel piss. I don't just say that in public. And then
I think about it, so I guess it's okay.
Yeah. Everyone is talking. George is talking about growing up in Bankstown. He's always a fighter. I had to ask, like, what is this whole Bankstown thing? And I think people said it's like a rough town. Like, there's a lot of crime. Like, I think I saw people explain it as the Detroit of Australia, if that makes sense.
Nice. Wow. So maybe, a rough area.
Yeah. So, like, a rough area. And we see that's, like, a meeting. And while people are talking, we see Haley just give George a little tug and just say, Joey. This is always something I love. When you tell somebody at Tribal, this is who we're voting. Like, I always think back to, like, as much as I love her on YouTube, when Mari got voted off, Millennials versus Gen X, and Michelle was, like, telling Hannah last minute, the majority is on Mari.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love the moment. I hate the result, but I love the moment.
Yeah, I agree with you. I always love when they get off at Tribal, but it always ends badly.
Yeah, we love a live Tribal, but it never usually goes the way it does. Until now. We see how everyone votes, and when we do their confessionals, everybody's like, yeah, this person, but the votes are red, and it turns out that Joey has the majority. And Joey's the one who's voted off. This is why I was saying earlier about my little weird obsessions.
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah. We see here that Haley, Baden, Rachel, George, and Way all decide to vote on Joey. We see that the Joey Alliance, minus Laura, votes for George. Laura votes for Way. She must have been on the Way split. And Joey goes home in a 5-3-1 vote. What were your thoughts when you saw that Joey got the majority?
Before they read the votes, like, I was thinking somebody would play an idol or anything. Like, I mean, again, I didn't think Joey was going, and when he did, I just I laughed a little. I mean, what else can you do? I mean, finally, again, like I said, but how is George still there?
How is George still there? Joey was a decently edited person, the most edited out of his lines, the only one we'd ever hear from. And he is the sixth boot? Well,
Maybe they're doing a reverse thing this season. They're trying to trick us.
yeah, we're the least edited. Is Georgia winning the season? Where she was literally absent for the entire, for
I
pretty much
literally, when you said that right now, haven't even thought about her this entire conversation. It was like, oh yeah, her.
Yeah, she's there. So Joey is gone. He joins the group of 531 people voted off. Spoilers for a whole bunch of survivors. Sorry. The first Australian person to be voted off in this way. That's something.
Oh wow.
I also have it color coded.
I see. I see. Always us damn USers, huh?
Yeah, few. So, what were your thoughts of Joey throughout his run of Survivor, which I think was cut a little too short?
Yeah, I didn't, certain people I just assume are going to make it to a certain point of the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I hadn't really had many thoughts on like even Mitch going, him. I'm just kind of like, oh, they're gonna at least make it to jury. They're strong males. They have good social skills. Why wouldn't they? Because people usually don't try to make a move early or this round. They're always like, oh, we'll wait. So I really hadn't thought up an opinion. I thought I had more time with him to really focus. You know what I'm saying? I was focusing on George and Way and other people to really not think that, wow, Joey got voted out.
Yeah, not even making the tribe swap. To think. I mean, when I first saw this, I said that Joey was one of my favorites in the last recap, and when I saw this, I was like, please don't tell me that all my favorites are leaving in a row again. Because this always happens to me in Survivor. I say someone's my favorite and they go home next.
See, I usually do that. I say someone's my favorite, then they do something dumb, and I'm like, well, there, you ruined it.
I'm watching this Big Brother and I'm too afraid to say who my favorite is, but thankfully my favorite got immunity till jury.
Oh, yeah, we love Claire here, too.
Yeah, we stand Claire. Hopefully she doesn't pull a Netta. I don't know if you watch Big Brother Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen.
The night is still young.
Yeah. Love you, Claire, but please don't pull a Netta. Second you're not immune, you go home. Oh. So that's the end of episode 7. Joey is gone. Sadness. We get to episode 8.
Which
Everyone
is much not less sadder than episode 7.
I mean, I'm like one of the few people that didn't really care that much about Danny.
I liked him.
It's not that I didn't like him. I liked other people more. So when he went home and I was shocked, and we'll get into it. So yeah, everyone misses Joey. Everyone is sad. We miss Joey. And George decides to spy on people because he knows he's still on the bottom.
Of course.
And yeah, he sees that Laura and Rachel wander off. They're talking. Laura looks down and sees a yellow string, which, how much string did they have? That was like from the water well to the camp. And Laura finds an idol, which I found shocking because at this point, Laura wasn't that well edited. She got like an occasional confessional, but not like a George level editing. So what were your thoughts on Laura finding the idol and with Rachel?
Well, I mean, so we're still in episode 8 right there. But again, yeah. I don't think idols should be in play when they're having twists like round 1, people save each other. And then going into what we know with the latest episode, how that works when they go to double tribal, 2 people save. I just feel like you're limiting so many people from being voted out that there really is no choice, which has happened. USA Survivor, Suri got voted, really didn't get voted out, but everybody
She was
had
the only option.
or an advantage, and I don't like that particular. Like, I think if you're going to have some powers, then don't do the idols, or then just do the idols.
Yeah, it seemed we can't even say, oh, they're just rehiding idols that just got played because
Right. I mean, I could even see if somebody was voted out with the idol or an idol's been played, then it goes back in. But I don't know. Too many powers. It just
at this moment there have been 4 idols found, 2 on Brawn, 2 on Brain, and previous to that we've had 3 idols played. 3. Yes, because we had Kez's idol, George's idol, Kara's idol. So that's already 7 idols in 8 episodes, plus the day 1 advantage. We've had an advantage. It's like we had an advantage every episode.
Yeah, and again, like I said, it's just too much powers. You're restricting on the numbers and stuff, and it's going to screw somebody over. And I don't know. I hate that sometimes, unless it's my person that's not getting screwed over, then I love it. You know, I'm like, yeah. Play that.
As long as it's not our favorites getting screwed, we're fine. Yeah, what? Simon was the one that got screwed over? Who cares? And then you're like, wait, George is the one screwed over? No!
Right. So, I mean, it has its advantages and disadvantages, but yeah, that's a lot of idols.
Yeah, 4 idols at once, and only episode 8. So yeah, Laura finds the idol with Rachel, but George spots it. Now, an idol is only as powerful as it is hidden. Usually. We'll get to Haley. So this could easily... George doesn't know exactly what Laura found. She just knows that she has something. She just found string. For all you know, Laura just found like a whole bunch of string, and it's a Lauren idol where it's like you find the string and you have to find the shell.
Right.
And everyone sees that Joey got voted off. The Brawn is confused. It's like, why would you vote off your best player? Wow, you must love losing. Perfect time for a tribe swap. Everyone is like, people are like, no, yay, what? And I have the new tribes right here on...
Well, you should expect a tribe swap. I mean, usually, unless it's a twist. But when you go into pre-named, like Brawn versus Brain, blue collar versus white collar, like, the tribe swaps don't make sense to me because now you're not that anymore.
Yeah. I mean, in the US one, it makes sense because they would change the tribe names. Like, blue collar, white collar, no collar. It would change to, like... Eskameka and whatever the other one was named. In the Brain Bronze Beauties, they changed to the tribe names, but in this one, it's still Brain and Brawn. So it's like you couldn't. It was the same with champions versus contenders. Like they were still the champion tribe, and they're still like, you couldn't. You couldn't think of fancy names for them.
Yeah, that was my only thing. It's just like, come on, change their names too.
Yeah, like make them like the Sentula tribe and the Yukaka tribe. I don't even know if those are real words. I made them up. So on New Brains, we have George, Kara, Emmett, Georgia, Laurel, Laura. I will get these names right, I swear.
I took him going over with you.
Yeah. Laura, Rachel, Danny, Gerald, and Kez. And on New Brawn, we have Way, Simon, Shannon, Haley, Andrew. My thing says Flick, Danny, Chelsea, and Baden. What do you... So on Old Brain, we have majority original Brain, and on Old Brawn, we have majority original Brawn. Looking at these tribes, what are you thinking?
Sometimes it's hard knowing going forward, like the dynamics and stuff, but I don't know. I thought for all of them, I mean, who doesn't love a tribe swap? I mean, some probably, again, you can't be happy, you can't be sad. I mean, you have, like, I was happy they stayed majority on their own tribe, but then I felt bad for the ones that aren't majority on their tribe. You know, I mean, it's torn because I do like this cast. I think everybody there is fun for whatever reason to watch them. So it is hard to be like, oh, well, at least they could pick that person off and that person off, because then that leaves George, and I don't want George to go.
Not George. So we see first we go to New Brawn, where the brawniest person, Way, talks about how she belongs on this tribe. Like, when you think Brawn, you think Way.
I think when you get on reality TV, your delusional meter goes up.
I mean, we watch George. We see his delusional meter go up a lot. Yeah, the Brawn way.
The Brawn way.
Yeah. And we also see that Shyman, Jesus, I made their ship name.
It's okay.
I know their names, I swear. We see Simon bring all the old Brawn together, including Flick and Shannon, and goes like, I know we had our differences. We have the majority now. Let's just pick off all the brains. And they agree. Like, you see the numbers. Like, maybe we don't go for each other yet. And we see, and on New Brain, we see that Kara is reunited, and the joy on her to be back with old Brain. At least her and George reunites. So there's some positive. And both of them are ecstatic because they're just flipping to the other Brawn members to pick off the Brain ladies. So it looks like that majority doesn't matter. And yet
it does.
Yeah. Confusion. So George proves that like he wants to work with them. He tells them about Laura finding something, and everyone's like, "Ooh, what'd she find? What'd she find?" And then we have Laura, Rachel, and Georgia being like, "We're the minority." Oh crap! And a minority of 3, which usually never works out. Usually. Confusion. Cue Jada
That's
Essence
what
Hall.
It's all about.
Yeah. Cue Jada Essence Hall gif of saying confusion. We get to the challenge. It's a balancing challenge over the water. And we see that Wei struggles, but she has a Suri moment. And she gets across the balance beam. But this time actually for the challenge. And then we see George struggling. He eventually gets there. Then we see Rachel struggle, and she still struggles. Chelsea and Shannon embrace their inner Kardashian with the balls in the back of their pants. That was creative. And they try to make it tense, where it's like, oh my god, they caught up. New Brain finally start when New Brawn has their 6-ball pretty much in the hole. And New Brawn wins. So yay for the minority brains. And New Brain goes to try. I really wish they thought of names for these tribes. New Brain goes to tribal. And George explains, like, this vote is simple. There are 6 of us. We'll split our votes between 2 of them. That way the idol doesn't matter. But the Brawn proving their Brawn gets confused. And at first I was thinking, oh, it's so simple. But to be fair, George was like, okay, we're going to split between Laura and Rachel. All right, you 3 are voting Georgia. We're voting Laura. Okay, no, wait. Okay, so you guys can do Rachel then, and then we'll do George. He said like every name in each scenario. So it made it seem like, oh, confusion's going to happen. And I was like, oh,
maybe that's the key to this game, George and his confusion.
Yeah, confusion. I was watching this thinking, oh, they're just trying to make it not obvious. Like, it's obvious that one of the 3 girls are going, probably Rachel. Like, Rachel wasn't that well featured until these past 2 episodes, and she did struggle in the challenge. So it's probably going to be Rachel. So what were you thinking throughout this pre-tribal talk where it looked like...
Again, because I was surprised at the last vote. I was just kind of like, wow, it can go anywhere. I mean, this season is proving that you have no idea what's going on. So I've been rolling with it the last couple episodes, just like not having a major opinion, because once I say it, it's wrong. And I'm like, well, damn.
It's like, oh my god, have they actually got... nope, never mind. And here I was thinking, like, they're trying to trick us. But no, it actually came true.
I mean, and then Carol would want to go after people that voted her out or try to maneuver herself, or George. I mean, these people, I get that they're brains originally and now new brains, but now we're new brains together because like I don't know.
And some of these Brawn people definitely don't belong on the brains. Looking at you,
right.
Emmett.
So I don't know.
So, and then the girls have their discussion. Laura says she has her idol, and they said, let's just vote for Big G because the only thing he brings in challenges is he can just lift heavy things. He's not a great runner, not a great swimmer, not great at puzzles, can't really balance that well. He can lift heavy things. And again, I thought like, oh, they're just like throwing out a name because if they wanted to make a tens, they would like do what they did in oh wait, you haven't seen the first season yet.
No, I have not.
Yeah. So they do some, I think everyone knows what I'm talking about, where a majority of 4 and the minority of 2, they say like literally every name and the majority of 2 come out on top. Watch the season, you'll really enjoy it. The pre-merge is really good.
Okay.
Let's just say idols were involved and people were shook. You might have seen one of this person on All Stars where they were rudely treated by the edit.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So we get to Tribal. The group of 6 make it very clear that it's Rachel, Laura, or Georgia going home. Are they going to vote? And we hear that the Brawn mainly want Rachel because of challenges, while it seems like Cara and George would rather the other 2 because they're more... Like, they were always against him, while Rachel was just, like, flip-flopping.
Right.
And we get to the vote. Everyone knows about Laura's idol. She gets up. Georgia tells her, like, I feel like it's me, but don't play it on me. Don't pull a Cara. We can say that now. Don't pull a Cara.
Don't pull a Cara.
Yeah. So Laura gets up. She plays her idol on Rachel. And then it cuts to everyone saying, like, oh, guess it's Georgia going home. And that made my ears perk me, like, why would they show this? They wouldn't make it that obvious. So after all that happens, we see that the votes happen, and wow, I have way too many of these. Here we go. We see that here are the votes. As we see the 3 girls vote for Big D. We see the 3 cancel votes for Rachel, and then we see the 3 oh wait, there's only 2 Georgia votes. We see that Cara accidentally throws her vote on Laura, causing Big D to go home in a 3-3-2-1 vote with 3 votes for Rachel cancelled. When you saw that Laura vote happen, what was going through your head?
To be honest, I don't know why she would throw it that way. I didn't know if she knew, like, in case of another idol. Like, I really didn't know. Again, since episode 5-4, when the votes go on, I have no clue what they're doing until they get there and throw up their vote. And when they do, it's usually explainable. But no, I don't know why she would do that.
I think she explains that she literally just got confused. I think she said.
I'm not believing confusion. I see that, but I don't know. How do you get confused on the vote? Like, you have that 30-second window next to you to be like, so we're still doing so-and-so, right?
Yeah.
It's all good. Like, if you're confused before you go to the vote.
Yeah. And looks like Georgia telling Laura, don't play the idol on me, kind of worked out, because if she did play it on Georgia, it wouldn't have mattered. Rachel would have went home, but
yeah,
Laura got a lucky correct idol play, and we see Big D go home. What are your thoughts on him leaving?
Well, I was sad. I liked him. I thought he would go far, especially when the individual portion came on. I was like, oh, he's going to be those ones that turn it up. Just like I thought with Joey, like, oh, he's at least going to make jury. They're going to be there for a long time. So when they go, because I don't expect people to make moves. I don't expect people to play their idols on other people, especially. So it's just like, wow, I really didn't think he would go. You're back at square one. Like, he definitely didn't place where I had him placing in my mind.
Yeah, not at all. Like, we saw him like be the swing vote in the Gavin vote. We saw him flip on the Benny vote. Like, it really made him out like he was like a potential like hidden winner edit threat. But no, he goes home right at the swap because of confusion. And it's thanks to this confusion that we get a very unique vote off. This list is a lot longer, but it's very difficult to see, so I just edited to the Australian seasons. Okay. As you can see, there's a couple. Danny's right there. We've never seen a 3-3-2-2 vote. The one thing I do love about Australia with the amount of people, we do get a lot of these like wild, crazy votes.
Yeah, I do like the crazy votes. I will admit that.
I hate when vote is like just between two people, and don't get me started on unanimous votes. They're so annoying. But one good thing, we got that. Sorry about that.
You're fine.
So Danny leaves. What are your thoughts on Danny throughout the season?
Well, again, I thought he would make it at least to jury stage. I had the stronger males all pegged: Mitch, Joey, Danny, going far. So I mean, my amount of into them, like I liked them, I enjoyed them, but I didn't put a lot of effort into thinking about them because I was like, oh, they'll show their strength later. That's when they'll shine, when it's individual, and they'll be like, oh, alpha male, us three, let's do this. And it didn't happen.
Yeah, it's definitely a great change. You do bring this up, like, we are not used especially in US Survivor, we are not used to seeing like alpha men leave this early.
No,
and it's honestly, it's really great to see. Like, it's not like, oh, these women coming together and voting off all the alpha men. Well, in this case it was, but it's like a general group of people. Like, it's not like a battle of the sexes type thing. It's just naturally happening.
Yeah, or switching, because I see a lot of people rooting for George, even though he's not your particular stereotype of man on Survivor. I mean,
yeah,
maybe the alpha male is flipping.
Yeah, maybe we're getting different. Like, we even saw this, not to bring up Big Brother, but we kind of saw this in Big Brother where the first 3 evictions were all, spoiler alert for Big Brother, the first 3 evictions were all male.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it as well. I wish it was all 4, but no, they had to get rid of the blonde one.
I know, poor Whitney.
Yeah, we love you, Whitney. But we still root for Claire. So after Big D goes home, we see that we're on episode 9, last episode. We're getting there. And Kezar is emotional. Like, she's upset that Big D's gone. And a lot of people are. George calls this an iconic Kara moment. We're definitely getting Kara this season. Like, she idled herself out. Confusion. Like, a lot of them keep bringing up the fact that, like, Kara, if all those 3 girls voted you instead of Big D, you would have gotten yourself voted off again. Like, very Tyson in Heroes vs. Villains, where he voted Parvati and not Russell.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I kind of fear for Kara, not because of, like, she's going to get blindsided or big twist. I'm waiting for she accidentally votes herself off or writes down her own name.
Yeah, that's what's next for her. But I mean, she's still there, so
she's still here, just about. I'm waiting for her, if she makes a jury, to pull a Topaz.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, that's the next thing. Like, she votes for the wrong person to win.
I know.
Like, it's George and Rachel, and she's like, okay, and she read some Rachel thinking it's voting her off. It's like,
I know.
Oh,
she's given us entertainment just like George has.
Yeah, iconic Kara moments. Ugh, we're going to get a lot. I hope we get more. So yeah, it's a season. I mentioned it's a season trend of people getting confused and writing down the wrong name, because we had Gavin voting for Janelle when he was apparently supposed to vote for Shannon. We got Kara voting Laura when she was supposed to do Georgia. It then cuts to Georgia feeling sick, and again I was thinking, oh, so this is when she goes home.
Oh yeah, I thought maybe there was going to be a medevac or whatever right now as well.
I was thinking, like, you probably don't remember this person, but when Hannah in Champs vs. Contenders 2, she had a scene where it was like, she was like a blonde one, little blonde girl.
Oh, yeah, okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was like when she was getting voted off, it showed her being sick, and it's like, oh, are they going to, like, pull this off? And it's like, oh, she's sick, that's why we got rid of her, and she had no confessionals. So yeah, we get that. We see Brawn. Haley's looking for cracks. So far, not seeing any. But idols tend to widen cracks open a bit. We see that Brawn Haley also wants to keep a close eye on Andrew, since she voted against him in the Joey vote. Now, is this definitely? You would think that this would be a concern, like, oh, this is the one person that like I kind of betrayed, but Andrew, he's not. We're not seeing a lot of him. Like, we're not seeing much of him. So, did you think Haley has anything to worry about with Andrew? Maybe flipping on her?
I mean, no more so than anybody else. I mean, again, we just said, I mean, his loyalty isn't actually real in Survivor.
Yeah. I mean
50, with any of them, 50-50 chance. Sometimes maybe you think they'd lean a little more, but I would say no more worried than she should be about anybody.
Yeah. If anything, you should be worried about Way. She's proven the flip already. Twice.
And that's what I'm saying with like Kara giving information to Brawn when she went over there, but yet went back to Brain. Like people like that with the flippy floppy information.
Yeah.
Would be like, eh.
Yeah. Why can't people just be blindly loyal like Chelsea?
Like George.
Or George. Yeah. How about you? Or like Chelsea, where you're barely seen and you don't get any airtime. I think Survivor producers, no matter what country, just don't like people named Chelsea.
Probably.
Yeah. Because we have Chelsea from One World who got no votes to win and we saw nothing of. We got Chelsea from Ghost Island, the least edited player in all of Survivor.
Oh, I forgot about her.
Exactly. Like she, like everyone says, like, oh, Purple Kelly, who's the Purple Kelly edit? Purple Kelly is more shown than Chelsea in Ghost Island.
Wow.
Yeah. And then we have Chelsea this season who barely gets anything. Oh, actually, to jump back to Big D is the first person to be voted off and we not see his intro moment. Like, when it's like their name on the screen and we get the...
when they give the little tidbits about their whole life and whatever.
Yeah, he's the only person so far voted off that we saw none of that. And there's still 3 people in the game that we still haven't seen that.
Yeah, and I usually go by that too. I'm like, oh, they haven't gotten their intro, so obviously they're still there.
Laura hasn't gotten her intro. Rachel hasn't gotten her intro. But surprise, surprise, Simon hasn't gotten his intro either.
Oh.
Yeah, that's kind of
I wonder if they're going to fit them in somewhere or...
Are they going to show it at all?
Maybe they weren't that interesting.
Yeah, like, although, I mean, Carpenter is kind of boring. Laura, hers has something to do with environmental science, and Rachel's a teacher. So that's interesting. Maybe we shouldn't be focused. Maybe people that are doing where they judge the winner based on edgics, I think that's what they're called.
Yeah.
Maybe that doesn't matter.
Or maybe they're getting wise that people figured it out.
Yeah. It's like they talk so bad about our editing. Maybe if we just edit everyone equally. And this episode, they actually did very well. There was barely any George confessionals, I think. He might have gotten like the odd 1 or 2, but it wasn't like...
Yeah, no, it wasn't the George show this last episode.
Yeah, no. And not even that many Simon episodes either. Like,
and you think with both tribes going to tribal, there would have been chaos in all of them.
Yeah, but well done, Survivor Australia. You're editing your seasons evenly. Yay! Who would have thought? It only took a pandemic and you filming in your own country to finally figure that out.
Oh, I know, them filming in their own country. The Outback has to be one of the craziest background settings. I mean, versus when you have the island, at least you have like the water, the food sources, and other stuff. It's
nice seeing an inland season because we're all very bored of Fiji. Like, let's go back to the inland seasons. Like, we haven't seen...
I just feel bad for the players. I mean, imagine thinking, I'm going on Survivor. And then, I mean, I know it's roughing it both ways, but I'd rather rough it over on the islands than the Outback.
Yeah, at least in the island, you have, like, potential coconut trees and fish. Like, I think even Kez was thinking, like, where she only brought, like, a bikini top and bottoms. It's like...
I didn't realize it got so cold at night when she described, like, the temperatures and things. And I haven't noticed a lot of rain either.
No, not really. It's very dry.
U.S. Survivor, it's usually a lot of rain.
Yeah, like it's always filmed like during a monsoon season.
Yeah.
Where like Australia isn't known for their monsoons; they're known for their droughts. and they're forced fires.
Yeah,
But
I
no
guess
rain.
would hope a fire wouldn't start during. So yeah, I would be torn. I guess either way, there's good and bad to being.
Hopefully, the only fire in Australia is the torches.
We hope.
Hopefully. So we get to the immunity challenge. All the Brawn members start crying because Big D is gone. And then Kara openly tells that it's her fault why he left. She got confused, but ultimately those three still voted him. I just voted the wrong person. Was this wise of Kara to like just be open to the other tribe and be like, yes, Big D went home and I'm to blame because of my confusion?
Again, I don't know what confused her at that moment to say that. I don't know why her, George, or others want to explain to other tribes or other things what's going on. Like, you're giving too much information for a question that things that aren't even a question. They didn't ask why he went home, so why she would feel the need to.
I think she probably felt she saw them crying and was like, it's probably guilt. Like she feels guilty that he went home.
I would feel better. I mean, obviously he had a lot of friends that wouldn't have voted him out later.
Yeah. If I was like somebody else and it's like, it's my fault, Big D's gone home, I would be like celebrating in the back corner, like, woo, don't have to deal with that problem.
Kara's just confused again. She's
like
a Simpson of Australia.
Pure confusion. But she doesn't fail to mention, like, those three still wrote down his name.
Well, she's not as dumb as we'd like to think she is.
Yeah, it's not that she's dumb. She's confused. There's a difference.
Yeah, confused. She's very confused.
Yeah. We get to the immunity challenge. They seem to cut off rewards because we didn't get one of the 2 episodes, which I mean, we could do.
Would with the double tribal because that usually lasts a little bit longer.
Yeah, and the tribes have happened, so I doubt we could see a reward in that.
Yeah.
I know people were complaining that there were too many challenges, but maybe they're listening. Hi, Australian Survivor, if you're watching.
Right. I like all the challenges. I think they're so much more elaborate. I enjoy watching them doing 20 different things for a piece of flint. A fish.
Yeah. Pictures. I love bits, pictures, love, and so everyone. And we see that the challenge is where it's a team-based challenge, but there's only individual immunity on the win since both tribes are going to tribal. Mm-hmm. Now, I didn't know this at first, but apparently 2 people from each tribe wins immunity. I thought when they said 2 people win, I was like, oh, so 1 from each tribe, not
That's what
2
I thought
people.
Then I noticed. So usually, like I know in USA Survivor, it's like it's not during the double tribe. It's usually at merge when they do something strength. It's 1 male, 1 female that wins.
Yeah.
So
because it always has to be even.
Yeah.
I mean, even here it was 2 male, 2 females.
Yeah. So I wasn't anything different, but yeah, I was a little confused at first too. I thought it would be 1 and 1.
Yeah. I guess since there's like maths 17 people, 4 of them being safe, 13 on seem even enough.
Yeah.
Imagine if it was only 2 and they kept that twist.
Well, we've seen the 4 that got it.
Yeah. We see that. Oh yeah. It's partly team-based, but at the end it is individual immunity. Once again, Wei struggles on balance beams, poor girl. And we see 2 different strategies happen. We see New Brawn, please, why couldn't they just come up with names? New Brawn go at it individually, while New Brains stick together and wait for each other at the end. Yeah. Which strategy do you think paid off well? Or would you have rather do?
Well, I mean, it's individual immunity. I mean, everybody can't be safe, so I don't understand why they waited for each other. I mean, did you want a race line to the end? Like, waiting for each other makes no sense.
Yeah. It was weird, because Brawn still managed to get there ahead of them, even while being individual.
Yeah.
And you have more people competing against you. But eventually, nobody wins immunity until at least everyone gets their pose, and it's extremely close. We see that Andrew wins immunity, and Wei wins immunity.
I was waiting for that. She finally did it.
Yay! Way one of the first female to win individual immunity because she technically beat the entire other tribe as well.
Mm-hmm.
The only person she didn't beat was Andrew.
Yeah, and then they got to go on that lovely reward.
Yeah, is Wei a secret immunity beast?
It would be smart on her part, but I'm gonna go with I think she just lucked out. The challenge worked in her favor.
Yeah, and now we see who won on the brain side. We see Emmett wins, and we see Rachel win. Another like unexpected winner. Like it looked like close. Like oh, Kez was going to win. Oh no, it's Kara. Oh no, it's Rachel.
Yeah,
especially after last tribal, she must be like excited. What were you like seeing these four are the winners?
Well, the males, I kind of expected the males. The males didn't shock me any, but Wei winning shocked me the most. I was most excited. I like when an underdog can pull it off, and especially because they got that reward. So it's even better that they win alone with the other two. I like things like that. I think it adds a good mixture to the game, see who's going to say what. And come a merge or whatever, you at least, oh, I've talked to that person before. We had the last chat together. So I think it opens up a few more doors.
I also think it helped Wei that she was at the very end of the throwing. She didn't have like two people like decide right next to her, like limiting her range. She could easily like go for the far end and do a full swing.
Right. Yeah.
Same with Rachel as well. She was also at the far end, at like the very end, where it's like she had more room to throw while everyone else was kind of crammed together.
Yeah, maybe that was an advantage to it. Survivor, make sure to make everything fair.
Yeah. Well, they gave her the win, so yay. At least they didn't give someone like Simon.
I was happy with the safety of the new winners.
And prior to the challenge beginning, Georgia sits out because of her illness is getting worse.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, I feel so bad for Georgia. We keep forgetting about her.
Yeah, I thought like when she was sitting out that there would be like this whole scene where the paramedics had to come in and let's see what's wrong with her. But they kind of pushed it aside. Even Jonathan was like, oh, okay, you can go sit over there. Like,
yeah. It's like they and her station wasn't set up in the throwing section. You didn't? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I didn't see her name.
I didn't even unless they pulled it up
last minute.
Yeah, why would they do that? Yeah, I didn't even notice that. Wow. Yeah. They forgot about her too.
Oh, poor Georgia. So after everybody gets wins, we see that Georgia has to be taken away for medical reasons to be checked up. And we hear this rule saying like you're allowed to leave for medical reasons for a minimum of 24 hours any longer than you're officially medevaced.
Yes.
So this definitely made me think, oh, is Georgia out? And what's going to happen? And so we have the winners of the immunity leave, and we hear Rachel say she wants Kara out, and she thinks that the other Brawn would flip because she's proven to be a liability thanks to her confusion.
Right.
Okay. Then we cut to Brain. Do you think this is smart for Rachel to be like targeting Kara instead of being like, we have Brain's majority more, let's try and reconnect?
I would try to reconnect with Brains, especially if Kara is willing to give you that chance, because I don't know why Kara wants to keep giving them chances, but don't look a gift horse in the mouth, as they say.
Yeah. Like they have a 5-3 majority. You can like pretend to like these people for like a vote and then flip on them again.
Yeah.
So when Old Brain gets back, they hear the news that Georgia will not be attending Tribal because of medical reasons. So she cannot be voted off, but she's still technically still in the game because it hasn't been 24 hours yet. So the key to safety is become sick.
Yeah, I didn't know that that's how it worked.
I mean, we've never seen anything like this before. When somebody has been sick, they've either straightway been voted off, immediately medevaced, or eventually drawn out.
But I don't know the whole you can't be voted for, though. I mean,
she's not a tribal. She can't vote or say. It's like safety. It's like that safety. It's like she was given a safety without power advantage, only came with an illness.
They should try that more often.
Yeah. So any future Survivor players, if you want to be safe for a tribal, just pretend to be sick for 24 hours.
And usually, like, so double tribal, again, there was another part. When I hear double tribal, I assume first one tribe will go to tribal, and then the next tribe will come and go to tribal.
Not both at the same time.
So that gave me clue one that obviously something else was going to happen.
It wasn't that two people were going to be sent home. So with Rachel immune and Georgia dying, Laura's the only option left, and she doesn't have her idol anymore. So it's not looking great for her. So she tries to build relationships, and she also targets Kara, coincidentally.
Poor Kara.
Oh, poor Kara. Confusion, idol misplays, targeting. Oh, the poor woman. We get clips of the reward, and Rachel openly says to Emmett, being like, I want Kara gone. Are you okay with it? He's like, yes. We then cut to Emmett saying, I don't care as long as it's a brain, I'm staying Brawn strong. And is this a good idea to be thinking, like, I'm going to stick to these original groups of people and not even consider...
I would think at this point, like, because of the way the tribal is going to work out, that this would be the point to cut your numbers where you wouldn't get blamed for it. Like, cut your losses, because eventually you're going to have to. Again, I understand the alliance. Okay, the 6 of us, we're to the end, but then what happens when you make it to that 6? If you're the strongest, it's probably going to be you. If you're the weakest, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have nothing to base it off of. So I would go with cutting my numbers. I wouldn't be all, okay, loyal, strong tribe, because where's that going to get me? I mean, does it usually work?
Yeah. And if you look at the other Brawn members that are with Emmett, it's Gerald and Kez, 2 people that were not in his alliance.
Right. So I would say cut my numbers now, especially with the way the tribal is going to go down.
Yeah. Emmett is what gets away with things with what I like to call the pretty boy case, where he can say things and people think, oh, it's just Emmett joking, when he's being serious. Like when the tribe swap happened and he just says out loud, we just vote off all the brain, go to the end, Brawn strong. And everyone's just like laughing like, well, he's being 100% serious.
Right.
Yeah, so it's weird that he can get away with saying that. Oh, pretty boys.
This is true.
Yeah. And then obviously the other people, since Laura's the only option, she's the obvious target. We then cut to the new Brawn tribe, where we automatically think with the Brawn, okay, they're just going to vote off. They're probably thinking, okay, so Andrew and Wei are safe. That leaves only Baden and Haley. I'm not used to saying Wei wins something. And Haley gathers everyone and says, as you know, I have an idol. I will be playing it. Y'all can take a 50-50 shot at me or Baden. Are you willing to do the risk? And
I like that. I like the aggressive approach. I like when people use powers, it's offense, not defense. Like, oh, I come at it and say this, because I think you could buy yourself mostly another round out of it, like not playing it and going in. I mean, it's a big chance, but I do like when they come out and say, all right, well, come at me because I got this.
Yeah. See, George, this is how you properly show off an idol. Not just walk up to camp and be like, that you put in a plan. And so Haley gives this announcement. She walks off with Baden, and then cracks start to form with the Brawns. Well, cracks reopen with the Brawn because Shannon is like, gotta take out Simon. However, she knows that Simon has an idol. She doesn't know he has 2, but she knows of at least 1. And Simon also tells I forgot to mention this. When Simon he tells the whole tribe that he has an idol. Well, not the whole tribe, the Brawn people. Was this smart to tell them, like, I have an idol?
I don't think he was in danger, so I don't think he should have told them at that moment. I think there could come a moment where it would be smarter to tell them, but again, I think he should start cutting the Brawn. I don't think if he sticks with Brawn, I I see him being at the latter of it. I think it would be smarter to have pulled off. No, I don't think he should have told Braun at that moment.
Yeah, maybe he should have like only told like Danny and Chelsea.
Right. I mean, like Haley, she probably was going to get voted, so her saying it made more sense, you know, trying to pull herself up. But no, I don't think if there's a reason to, then don't do it. But if there's a reason to, then by all means.
And plus, everybody knew about Haley's idol since she found it right in front of everyone.
Right. True.
Yeah. What was I saying? So yeah, they wait for cracks to form, and Shannon goes to Simon being like, we can't risk it. We might have to cut someone. And she tells Simon that they should vote off Chelsea, somebody who Simon is close with. And Simon's like, no, I'm with Chelsea. And then obviously tells Chelsea and Danny. He says, we'll just vote for Baden. But Danny pipes up and says, why not just go for Shannon? And we have confessional from Danny, which we haven't got any from. And she says, everyone thinks Simon's in control, but really I am. Now, is this actually something where it's like, is Danny controlling Simon from behind? Is she using him as a meat shield? Or is it just, you think you're controlling the big alpha guy when really you're not?
I think she might think it. I don't really think she is. I think that Shannon did that to herself. I mean, obviously him and Shannon didn't have a good relationship. Simon and her were fighting. Like, why you would go to, I mean, you're my ally, but you're also my adversary. I wouldn't go to you and tell you my deepest thought of where I wanted a vote to go, honestly, because what else do you do with that? He wants her out. He wanted her out before, so now this is the time to do it. It gives him ammunition because she said so-and-so's name. So I don't think that Danny's controlling anything. I think that Shannon just made a dumb move on who to trust with her thoughts.
Yeah, I think she just probably believed, like, maybe Simon will just willingly vote off one of the other girls in order to save himself.
Yeah.
Which, it's nice to see him not just throw the girls under the bus, which is what we usually see in, like, dominant alpha male alliances that have a random female. And so Haley's plan worked. She gets both alliances to crack and come to her and Baden and be like, vote for Chelsea, vote for Shannon. And then they control the numbers. And then, obviously, the people who won immunity come back. And then they go to each other. They have their little powwows and be like, should we vote off Chelsea? Should we vote off Shannon? Should we maybe throw a vote on Simon? Because they now know he has an idol. Because right. I think Shannon told them. Well done, Shannon. We get to Tribal. So, and then we go to Tribal and we hear from Brain 2.0, it's going to be Laura or Cara. In Brawn 2.0, it's Chelsea or Shannon. So it looks like this men going home streak is about to end. Sadness. So everyone votes. Everyone gives their speech. Haley talks about her public immunity idol. New trend.
I like it.
Yeah. Cara goes on an apology tour about her confusion vote. And this time when she votes for Laura, it's actually the actual plan. Again, George is not there at Tribal. We don't know what's happening to her. She could be dead for all we know. The editor thinks she's dead.
Why not?
And something quick happens at Tribal. Shannon says that Simon has an idol in front of everyone, including the other tribe. And the way she said it came off like positive, like, well, yeah, you have an idol, but Simon also has an idol. He can play on anyone. And are you willing to take that risk? Just casually says it in front of everyone. And if I remember correctly, Simon told no one he had an idol until the swap. So all those Brains people know he has an idol. His former Brawn people know that he has an idol that he never told them.
Yeah.
Is this a little sly move on Shannon just to be like, vote for Simon? Don't trust Simon?
Yeah, probably. I mean, especially if you think you might get the votes, you know you're getting votes, you want to throw those votes elsewhere. But it's also pretty risky when, like, Shannon doesn't have an idol. Like, to be that mouthy with nothing to back it up, I don't know if I would have thrown somebody else under the bus, especially somebody else that has an idol and I don't.
And has two of them.
Right.
Oh, it's so stupid that he has two. So the votes are cast. Haley doesn't play her idol. Simon doesn't play any of his. The Brains tribe is revealed, and it's a 6-2 on Laura going home. And then we get to the eventual Brawn tribe, which is probably more interesting because we don't know exactly. And it's revealed that Shannon gets the most votes in a 7-2. As we can see here, all the votes. We see that only Laura and Rachel vote for Cara, and then only Flick and Shannon vote for Chelsea. Oh wait, it was a 5-2, not a 4-2. I miscounted.
Yeah, 5-2. I was looking at my sheet. I'm like, oh no, whose vote did I cast twice?
I think I somehow remember Georgia existed and thought she voted.
Oh yeah, George is the missing.
Yeah,
the
poor
real
George.
star
Yeah.
of the show. Brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, there's a meme going around of her face. Like, she's the new, like, face crack meme where I think it was probably during the Joey tribe where she literally just turns around and looks like she's giving everybody a death stare. So both tribals happen. We think, well, we think, oh my god, they're both going home. However, he never says, bring me your torch. And he says, all right, this is what's happening. Andrew, Way, Rachel, Emmett, you four get to decide on who goes home between Laura and Shannon. And if it's a tie, we go to fire making a la Lydia versus Phoebe in All Stars.
Yeah.
What did you think of this twist?
Again, I think it's too powerful. It's not Big Brother where you only have the two choices to go home, like your nominees and everybody votes. Like giving them that sole power, you just took away everybody else's vote, and that's the whole point of the outwit, outplay, outlast. Because you're supposed to go to these tribals. You're supposed to. I mean, that's just why I'm also not a fan of the steal a vote, the cancel a vote. Then what's the purpose of tribal if everybody's vote doesn't matter?
Yeah. I play an advantage where I'm the only one who votes.
Yeah, I'm just it to me, and even with like they have like the idol
nullifier,
and I don't like that. You just earned it. Like, I mean, again, if there's too many powers still, but you can't have powers to react with what the game is about, and the game is about social skills, voting, where the vote's going. I think the two people that got the most vote, they didn't play an idol. They should be going home, not them deciding which one of the two those four. Yeah. But then those four should have just played even and went to fire making.
Yeah, which is what they were going to do. Andrew and Rachel say that they want to save Laura. Mm-hmm. Way says that she wants to go strong with new Brawn and decides to save Shannon. And Emmett, outwardly open, says, I want to save Brawn strong and get rid of all the brains, so I want to save Shannon. And it looks like it's going to be a tie.
Yeah, I would like to see the fight or whatever.
Yeah. And until Simon speaks up and says, Shannon actually flipped first and tried to convince me to vote for Chelsea. Hearing that, Emmett's like, Shannon, why would you do that? We were supposed to be Brawn strong. I'm sending you home. Way also decides to flip to Shannon. And our model queen that I'm pretty sure a lot of people were like rooting for and thought would go far is voted out 7-2. Surprisingly, a low number of people.
As I said, she wrote her own chapter when she went and said who she wanted out. I mean, she obviously knew she wasn't on the top of the Brawn.
Yeah.
So I think she did herself 7-2.
Yeah, poor Shannon. It really was.
I forgot about that vote. Lex also. I was looking at your 7-2 vote count.
Yeah. The only other person voted off 7-2 is Moana. The only person I constantly forget about when I'm listening off the Champions vs. Contenders 1 boot list, it's always her that I forget. So, Shannon's got another well-edited big player. Like, what are your thoughts on Shannon leaving?
Again, like I said, I don't know what to expect with these tribals. I kind of figured, again, it might be her because, you know, she was a little bit too mouthy saying her piece. Oh, and, you know, he has an idol. And she didn't have nothing to back it up. And unless you're going with some kind of shield or guns in blazing, you're going to be the downfall. So I kind of expected it during the tribal and stuff and with what was going on, that it was probably she was probably going to be one of the two people, because I did expect up until the end 2 people were leaving.
Yes. Now, let's say Simon never spoke up and it did go to fire. Who do you think would win between Shannon and Laura?
Oh, Shannon.
Yeah, I was thinking Shannon as well, and then I kept thinking, and then people were saying like Laura's an environmentalist, so she probably knows about fire, and then it made
I
me
don't
question
think
like,
being an environment. I mean,
well, she studies the
how hard
environment.
they all had time try starting a fire originally, but I
Yeah.
think Laura.
See, I kept thinking like, am I saying Shannon because I think in her skills, or am I thinking Shannon because of her edits? That was always my question. It's like, do I actually believe?
Yeah, I don't know. I would think I would go with both. I think Shannon just strikes me as someone who can push into that situation where she's under pressure, can do it. Where I don't know.
Yeah,
Now
maybe
you
she
have me
just.
thinking, I don't know. Why would I pick her?
Yeah, it's like, is it because she was more edited than Laura, or is it because like we actually believe that she could make a fire? Maybe Shannon should just pretended to be sick like Georgia.
Yeah, be sick.
Yeah,
Be like Georgia.
yeah, just only certain people will get this reference. Pull a Gillian McLean in I'm a Celebrity, where you faint before doing a task so you don't have to do it. I don't know if you get the reference.
I've watched some. I kind of get it.
Yeah, maybe she should have just done that, and maybe she would have gotten away with it.
Well, I guess we'll see next episode.
Yeah, but we won't see with Shannon. She's gone.
Poor Shannon.
Yeah. So, what were your thoughts on these 3 episodes? 3 big players gone back to back to back.
Again, just shocked. I don't expect the big players to go early, especially the males. I did kind of expect Shannon to go watching the episode, but it opens it up more for George and Wei, and I've liked them since episode 1. Even though she's a little wishy-washy, I like their character. I like their loudness. Whether I agree with what they're saying or not, they are characters. They're making this season very enjoyable for myself.
Yeah. As much as a shock and sad it is to see Joey and Shannon go, seeing these episodes and these big player goes opens like a lot of players that we didn't see. Like we saw more of Laura, we saw more of Rachel. Like this is going to be a very interesting season to see who else goes. Does George go home next episode? For all we know,
Bite your tongue.
does Simon go home next episode?
Well, he has an idol, so
could he get sent home with 2 idols? He could pull James.
It would be funny, but I doubt it. I don't think he's that delusional as to what
one can hope. So, what are you hoping will happen next episode? We see that Georgia is alive and does come back. What are you expecting to happen in these next sets of episodes?
I would imagine maybe if they lose, then Georgia goes for being sick. Like, I mean, that's always a thing in Survivor. They're just like, oh, well, they're not here. We might as well let them go. But who knows? Who knows? I've been wrong on the last couple votes. Again, I would just like to see George survive with more advantages, I guess. Let's see how many idols George can get.
Yeah.
Let's see how many idols Australian Survivor can throw out. I don't know. I am, however, waiting for the episode for everybody's idol to come out.
Yeah.
All at once.
Yeah. It's like Simon plays his 2, and then Haley's, and then George has his idol.
Simon's immune, and he plays his 2 on other people.
Yeah. He plays it for Emma and one for Danny. Haley plays her idol. George plays his eventual idol. Cara gets confused and plays her idol on Jonathan, the host.
Cara's voted out.
Yeah, Cara votes for herself.
What could happen? We'll have
Georgia gets a confessional.
What Cara does for the rest of the season.
Yeah, that's definitely very interesting. What does Cara do for the season? Okay, we're 9 episodes in. I feel like I already know the answer, but who is your winner pick?
I'm hoping George, but I don't think that that's going to last. I think once the full merge hits, that people will see, even though they're calling him volatile or he doesn't have any how he speaks to people, he doesn't have that line or whatever. I think people will see regardless. He's still playing one of the better games out there. He's all these things and he's still there regardless of the advantage, the idols. I mean, they're there for everybody to find and get. So just really good at
find, get, and producer pointed. And who should be worried in these next few episodes?
Well, Simon, I don't think has anything to worry about, especially with his idol. I would say Laura. I think once you're voted for, that kind of puts a stigma on it as to, well, it might be the safe, best bet thing to do again. So
Yeah.
she should probably be most worried.
Well, she's definitely getting Kara's vote because Kara voted for her 3 out of 4 times.
I would say that she should be worried as well, Kara, but there's those people in life that it just works out for them, and I think she might be one of those.
We'll hopefully get an iconic Kara moment. Well, everyone, that is our recap of the last 3 episodes of Australian Survivor. Thanks, Susan, for joining me. Where can people find you?
You can find me here on Facebook. We also do his other favorite show, Big Brother. He likes it. He just pretends he doesn't. And we also do recaps on the live reality game of the live reality games that go on here in the U.S. Hopefully, I know everybody's across seas, but the pandemic will soon end, and I highly suggest you get on a plane and fly across that big lake and play one of them, because they are one of the most rewarding things you will do, next to actually being on the show, which a lot of us cannot for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah, not all of us are Claire.
Darn. Or Clara.
Yeah. Or George. Well,
thank you for having me. It was fun talking about it.
Yeah, thanks for coming, and thanks everyone for watching. You can follow Live Reality Game Show Podcast in the Facebook group, subscribe to the YouTube, follow on all the social medias. You can join the Survivor Reddit Discord, where we talk all things Australian Survivor, Big Brother, other live reality game show stuff like College Survivors. You can find us talking, well, you can find me talking and complaining about anything.
And always feel free to add links to anybody else's pages or videos. We all love to hear everybody's opinion, even if we disagree with it.
Yeah, your opinion might be wrong, but we will show it and tell you how wrong it is.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like if you say like George should have been voted off first week, shouldn't even been casted, Susan will delightfully tell you how wrong you are.
You how wrong you are.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining. We'll be back next week reviewing the next 3 seasons, where hopefully maybe we'll still talk about George.
We'll see. Kara.
Or Kara. She could wander off on her own. Bye, everyone.
Lost in the Outback. That's the spin-off season.
In the Outback with Kara. Australian producers, you know who to call for ideas. So, thanks, everyone, and we'll see you next time. And that